All right, so the game has been out for a while. A lot of the player base is quitting, and I thought it was time. We make some good videos here to talk about the state of the game. I love Etheria Restart, but every time I see a patch note that comes out, it gets me sad because the devs do not fix the inherent issues with the game. And we're gonna go here and like talk about each game mode and break them up and talk about what's good and bad about them. Now, to give you an overview on how I think this game is supposed to work, is you're supposed to go into Threshold. You first start off with one of these two because this one's not available from the beginning, right? So let's say you start Doki Doki, and you start farming your way up to until you get to Hell 1. You start getting gear, and you slowly progress, and then you're going to sit here in Hell 4. You're going to use that Hell 4 so that you can then attempt to use that gear and farm Terramaton or Aurora. And then you're going to get a team ready for that to do Hell 4. Then you're going to use whatever two here to get a team for the third one you didn't choose. So for this case, in our example, Terramaton, and you're going to do Hell 4. Because this gives you access to the highest level modules of the main sets here. Because the only difference between Hell 4 and Inferno is these types of things, right? Like Fury, Edge, and Ether Plague. And then you decide what you want to work on first, right? Because unfortunately, the sad reality is for you to conquer all the content in the game, you're going to need every one of these things, right? So I'll give you an example, right? Look at this. Swift Smite, 50% speed, 20% accuracy. That can be used on a crowd control unit and they go really fast. Why? Because then now your fast crowd control unit can now come to Doki Doki and start beating your Doki Doki up. Swift Raid, right? Speed and attack. This is for a DPS. You can now give that to one of your DPSs, so now you can lap the Aurora or you can fight Terramaton. If you want to be slow and doing a lot of damage, that's where Fury Edge comes in. It doesn't give you speed, but it gives you more crit rate and crit damage to meet those requirements. And then you have Ether Plague for your, if you want to make your like crowd control or anything that's using debuffs, make them a little bit more tanky. So that kind of explains the path. Then once you're able to farm the Hell 4, then they want you to come over here to Grim Pursuit and start tackling the harder Grim Pursuit ones, right? Like Nico Nana Inferno is here to do this. I actually don't even think that's worth it. I think because of how broken Revelation is, you're supposed to farm a Revelation on your DPS and to kill all the PvE content. So we're going to focus right now on Threshold. And there's also an event going on for crafting modules, and we're going to talk about why that's kind of bad as well. But what are the pros of this mode, right? Threshold, right? What's cool about it? Well, I would say the enjoyment and the challenge to overcome it, for me, was really fun. Like crafting multiple teams to deal with it, right? I started off doing like a Didding team, and now I'm doing dots to kill this guy, right? And that was, to me, that was fun. And I felt that sense of accomplishment, right? So much as like Souls-like games when you finally beat that boss. And then thanks to at least the new features that should have been here on release, but where you can save your formation, that's really good now. So I think the challenge was really nice. But there is one big problem. Of course, every game wants you to grind. Your goal is to grind for your PvP items. If you only care about PvE, you still have to grind because I'd argue some of this PvE content is harder than PvP. So your goal here is to keep grinding, and eventually you're going to get these modules to help min-max out your characters. And that takes a lot of time. But right now the economy is really bad, right? Like leveling up one of these modules takes like about I'm gonna say like 1 million or more of this, right? So it takes a lot of these Etheria coins. And on top of that, you have to get the right substats, right? Like sometimes, you're going to come here. You're going to like hope this rolls in the crit rate and like it may go into defense. You're like, oh, got to move on to the next one. So I think overall, Threshold is good. You guys played Epic 7. It's similar to like Wyvern and Golem and all that stuff. If you haven't played Epic 7, literally it's just a dungeon. It's just a place where you farm gear. But like I talked about, I feel like in this game you have to be able to farm all 3 to fully build all types of units. Now, they have released this event, this patch, called Module Forge. And this, to me, was a big miss. I do not like what they did here, right? You can only craft 1 basic module, which is this left side, and 1 core module, which is right side. Now, normally, I'd be like, that's really cool. I can craft modules. Let me finally get my Swift Raid, my Fury Edge, my Ether Plague. Oh no, it's not here. I can only select the basic matrices to craft. That is a huge miss because we're very limited. We can only craft 1 in 1. And I feel like this misses the chance to help players progress. Because can you imagine, right? Can you imagine when you come over here to Threshold and you're like, you have a hard time farming Aurora and you want to get a Swift Smite, you can't get it because they don't let you craft it. You can't get that cross guard, for your tanky teams. And that I feel like that was just not the right way to do. Like, if that's the case, you should have let us craft 2 modules, 2 of any kind. So at least we can have the 2 sides here maxed out. And then this left side, to me, is the easiest. Why? Because these have the least variance. This is always flat attack. This is always flat HP. This is always flat defense. These are the ones with a lot more variation. It's harder to get the right substats and the right main stats. These, you only have to worry about the substats and the matrices. So I just think that this was a miss. I think that the state of modules, for me, is fine. It's not all that bad. You can get working characters fairly easy by doing Hell 4 and then eventually moving to Inferno. So I think, personally, Threshold is cool, but the events they're using to support Threshold, this module event over here, is not really that great. It could have been a lot better. I feel like this game, part of it respects your time, and then the other part of it just doesn't. So, I don't know how you guys feel about Module Forge and the Thresholds, but we'll catch you guys on the next video.